good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. It's the Ron Van Dam Show.
Thank you.
Hold on tight, things can get a bit weird, if you like that sort of thing.
Hey you. Welcome to the program. How you doing? I'm Ron Van Dam. It's the Ron Van Dam Show. How are you? Good to be with you. This is a visual version of the radio program that I do Monday through Fridays on stations all over the country in a syndicated fashion and also as a podcast. Thank you very much. That was silly, wasn't it? I've been doing this for 30 years, not straight. I go to bed at night and I eat some meals in between, but otherwise, that's pretty much it. On my radio program, I interview people at the end of the show, but here I'm not doing that. Here it's just a monologue kind of thing. So thank you for stopping by and picking up your laundry and all that stuff. I'm not going to interview anybody from the school department. I'm sorry. Other people can do that. I just don't. What I do is, if you're not familiar with me, what I do is I just comment on things that we all go through, but we don't really discuss it because it's just too stupid. But nothing's too stupid for me. I guess I'm a curmudgeon lifestyle-wise. I see the things that don't make sense, and I cannot leave it alone. It's like when something is coming out of your nose, you've got to get rid of it. You can't just let it hang there. That's the way I feel about the things that I go through in life. It's very difficult. I was recently at one of our local supermarkets, and I noticed, for the avocados were on sale. Can you believe that? The avocados from Mexico were on sale. And what I noticed was that everybody was walking up to the avocados and squeezing them. And I thought, this is not good. Now, granted, I don't eat the skins of the avocados, but at the same time, there have been strange people touching my fruit. And it's just melons. How can you buy a melon when people have been squeezing all the melons? That sounded wrong, didn't it? People do that with tomatoes too to see if they're ripe and plump. They play with them. I don't. So I have a problem eating those things. I'll eat them after they're cut up, but I'm not going to buy them whole like that because people have been touching them. I don't know where they've been. And in most cases, my supposition is proper. At one of our local stores here, supermarkets, I won't say the name of it, but it's an insect and then it has brothers after it. Nice store. Have no problem with it. But I noticed one day when I was checking out, there's a gigantic board on the wall. And it has pictures of the heads of the various departments in the supermarket. And I don't know who this person is because it changes every once in a while, but there's a picture of a person, and underneath it, it says, cheese manager. And they actually have a manager there for cheese. And I thought, sounds like a cushy job to me. Hey, Bob, we're a little low on Gouda. That's about it, How many a cheese? It's impressive that they have a cheese department, but on the other hand, how do you answer that question at cocktail mixers? Hey, what do you do for a living? Oh, I manage the cheese. Okay, fine. Did you go to school for that? Yes, I went to cheese school. Harvard has a division of the Cheese Institute where we study various cheeses and how to order them. I don't know. Anyway, I find that fascinating. You see, most people would look at that and go, oh, okay, fine. But me, it just raises too many questions for me. What kind of career path is that? What do you move to after you've been cheese manager for 5 years? Where do you go? I don't know. It's difficult. It's difficult for me. Recently, the Kardashians, I don't despise the Kardashians. I just don't care for them in an immensely horrible way. The Kardashians are just plain rich, and I guess that bothers me. When I was growing up, there was a television show called Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. And Robin Leach was the host of that show. He was a British pudgy man, and he used to host the program and bring us into the fabulous, wealthy lives of these celebrities. And the cameras would go inside their mansions, and mansions they were, with the gold-plated toilets and the incredible views. And I mean, it was opulence all over the place. Greek columns in the bathroom, that kind of thing. And even as I was watching it as a youngster, I couldn't help but say to myself, why are you showing me this? Are you trying to make me feel horrible? They were basically telling the average viewer, here are things that you will never have. Suck it up. Sorry, but this is the way some people live, and you never will. You can aspire to it, but it's not going to go anywhere. These are the people that are lucky and rich. You are not one of them. Just gawk at them. And that bothered me. Why am I watching rich people walk around? I have no problem with rich people. In many cases, they have earned it. In other cases, they simply inherited it. But nonetheless, go do what you do in your own little world, but don't thrust it into my face. And then as I grew up, I found that there were other factions to replace this Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous program. And I realized that it all doesn't make sense. Take, for example, the royal family. I, for a long time, wanted to be king of England. I've sent in resumes, applications, even some very impressive headshots with me wearing a crown, and yet they never returned my phone calls. And now the Queen has unfortunately passed, and Charles, I guess next in line to the throne, automatically gets the job without having to go through any kind of interviews. I don't like that, and apparently it's just because he's a member of the family. Well, isn't that nepotism, like personified? So then why does everybody in England and some people in this country find this to be fascinating and glorious and wonderful? What are you doing? Isn't there something in the Bibles that says you're not supposed to idolize these kinds of things? Didn't we break away from England, centuries ago for that reason? And now we find it romantic? I don't understand. I don't understand it. Somehow opulence is something to be revered as opposed to questioned. Again, if you're opulent, keep it to yourself. I mean, the church has a lot of money, got a lot of gold plating going on in the church system, and yet doesn't bother anybody. Good, fine. I don't understand. Oh, I guess this is why I'm upset about it, really. I got a phone call at 3:30 in the morning a couple of nights ago, and it was a long-distance call, and I didn't want to answer it because it was collect. And but I did answer the phone, and on the caller ID it said Chuck, and I didn't know who that was. And I picked up the phone, and it was King Charles, but not just any King Charles III. And he was saying, "Ron, I'm king now. What should I do?" And I just hung up because I wanted that job. He's bothering me. I blocked him. Anyway, so in this country, we also have idols to which we bend down and kiss the ring. One of them was actually President One of them actually did have gold thrones and large gold-plated buildings and estates and castles and Mar-a-Lago, is that what you call it? These plush places. And we actually took this person and made him president. It's like, whoa, I don't think that's the way that's supposed to go. And it didn't. Anyway, why are we bending down to honor opulence? It's okay to have, but why do we like it in our face like that? Especially when you're showing it off day and night. I don't understand that. I don't understand that human love of bending down to people with money. I don't understand that. I guess it's the kiss-up syndrome, pretty much is what that is, which is a whole psychological conversation I can't get into right now. In this country, we do have royalty, and their name, Kardashian. They inherited a lot of money from the deceased Kardashian matriarch, and now the Kardashians have turned their lives into a television program in which we sit there and we watch rich people walk around and eat lettuce. That's really about it, and I don't understand why we do that. Well, the series finally got canceled last year, and I had a party. I thought, great, this is good now that we don't have to watch that. You don't have to watch it. It's like a train wreck. It's there. How can you not look at it? But now I find out that the Kardashians are doing a new series on Hulu, which is apparently named after a hoop. That's good because now they're off of my network and my cable thing. Now I have to stream them to want them. So that's good. I have to go an extra step and pay money, and I'm not going to do that. It's not in my face anymore. I purposely have to put my face there if that's the case. The Kardashians annoy me for many reasons. Basically, it's because they flash their opulence in front of our faces on a regular basis. We watch the lives of rich, spoiled people. And you may say, Ron, the Kardashians are brilliant business people. Okay. First of all, they're using the name Kardashian. They could start a lead pencil company and they do well if they put Kardashian on the side of the pencil. That's true. Secondly, as smart as they think they may be, what they do is they hire publicity and marketing managers and research and development experts. They pay them an outrageously good salary, and they run the companies under the Kardashian name, and the Kardashians take all the credit for it. It's true. That family just... Did you ever watch that show? They don't do a lot on the show. They do a lot of sitting around. They sit around a lot. And then they look at each other in wonderment and in thought, but they don't do anything. Every once in a while, you'll see them eating at a table because all they're doing is sitting. And they don't eat their all they eat are salads, by the way, and individual eggs of caviar. When they eat a salad, they take a fork and they put it in a leaf, one leaf, and then they put that in their mouth, and they're good. And that's how they eat. There's always a glass of wine around, but nobody's inebriated because they even sip slowly. They do nothing but get up from the chair and walk to the couch. That's it. They have boyfriends, but they don't last that long. They're expendable. They're mere rentals, pretty much. The Kardashians work out because they have good bodies, but more so they don't eat too much. It's more that. The only exercise they really ever get is walking from the limousine to the private plane. I don't care for the Kardashians. I don't even know their names. I believe, I know Kim is the ringleader. She has a lot of plastic on her. They're constantly changing their faces and their hair color according to the magazine covers that they produce themselves. There's Kim and Chris. Everything begins with a K. Kim, Chris, Chloe, Crappy, Crackle and Pop. I know Sleepy, Dopey, and Sneezy. Then there's Kylie, and then there's Bruce Jenner. I have respect for Bruce Jenner. I just don't understand what I'm having respect for. But to each his own, that's fine. I'm not ever going to watch the show on Hulu because I don't want to. I don't care for these people. I just don't. All right, we're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, more program. I have to do this myself because I don't have enough money to hire people to do this for me. So I have no opulence in my life. Now here's this. All right, that didn't work out. All right, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, Lord. Gosh. Did you hear about, I think it was in the news a couple of weeks ago, the new fad on TikTok. I don't know why TikTok gets away with these things. It comes up with its own problems for society and then promotes them. This is on TikTok. Apparently, the new fad is to take raw chicken and cook it in NyQuil. I don't know who came up with this. Somebody who loved to cook yet didn't get enough sleep, and had a cold. I don't know why, but this is a TikTok challenge dare thing, and the CDC actually came out and said, don't do that. When the CDC makes a statement, usually about COVID and people dying, and they have to make a statement, don't cook raw chicken in NyQuil, something's very wrong somewhere. But they felt that they had to make that statement. And this is where I become a little bit concerned that I happen to be a member of the American public by default. You don't have to tell me, and probably not you, not to cook chicken in NyQuil. Beef, sure, but not chicken. I don't understand. I don't understand it. I guess all generations of kids did stupid things. Cooking chicken in NyQuil, I guess, is a culinary stupid thing. I really don't know. Speaking of culinary stupid things, oh man, let me just see if the commercial is ready. Hold on a second. It's not. Now it's skipping. All right. I was watching a cooking show on the cooking channel. I think it's the Food Network, something like that. And there's this chef in a professional kitchen in some restaurant somewhere, and he's teaching us how to make some incredibly gourmet-ish dish. And as he's doing, he's wearing the chef costume, where it's a double-breasted, strange button top, and a chef's hat. And he is slaving over these saute pans, sauteing shallots and all kinds of different things, and chicken and NyQuil, the whole bit. But I've noticed when they do a close-up of the chef's face who's doing this cooking demonstration on the Food Network channel, this highfalutin, very respectable chef, I assume, somewhere, there's beads of sweat coming down off his forehead because it's hot in the kitchen. And the sweat is like dripping down the bridge of his nose, off the tip of his nose, and into the saute pan. And I don't know if that's a special way of salting your vegetables, but I don't want sweat in my food. Although in restaurants, there's probably a lot worse in there. I think in restaurants, the reason that all the food tastes so good in a restaurant is because they're kind of cooking fat. And they won't say that they do. Oh, no, Ron, we don't cook in fat. We cook in a non-HMO, no HBO in our cooking, non-generic, farm-loving, the protein kissing. That's all we do. Now you're cooking fat, I know you do. And you cook in your own sweat. And I got to say, in some cases, it's pretty tasty. Although I don't want to know. You know how children should be seen and not heard? Chefs should cook and not be watched. I don't want to know what you're doing with that food. I was okay before. Now that I know what you do, with the sweat coming off your face, I'm not too eager about this. When I was growing up, let me see if the music fixed itself. I don't think it did. Let me just check something out. It didn't. Anyway, this is, by the way, just as a quick aside, this is the first show that I'm doing in the new studio. They have redone the studio here, and it's all new equipment, and it's all very nice and very opulent. But the first show is always going to get messed up, and it did. Next time, we'll see what happens. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, when I was growing up, are you familiar with a country singer named Jimmy Dean? You may not be. If you're from a prior generation, I don't know how many generations back this was, but back in the 60s, Jimmy Dean was a very popular country singer. He actually wrote and performed the song Big Bad John. I don't know if you're familiar with it. If you're a millennial, you don't even know who I am. So, he's a country singer, wore a cowboy hat all the time, extremely popular, had his own television show in New York. All the shows were in New York back in the 60s. Appeared on Mike Douglas's show. You don't know who he is either, do you? Anyway, very, very popular. He lived in Tenafly, New Jersey. I lived in Teaneck, New Jersey, which was one town over. My parents were friends with a couple who lived in Tenafly, New Jersey. They had a daughter. We used to go to their house. I would play with their daughter in a very respectable manner. And they would visit and such. And we were playing outside in the street and with their kid. And we drove our bikes up the street. And she said, "That's Jimmy Dean's house." And I said, "Jimmy Dean, the country star?" She said, "Yes, and it was a big, nice house. Not opulent, no gold pillars or anything, just a nice big house. I thought, oh my God, Jimmy Dean's house. Jimmy Dean passed away about a decade ago, I believe, but his name lived on because Jimmy Dean got into the sausage company business. Jimmy Dean sausages, they're still in all the supermarkets. You're probably familiar with Jimmy Dean sausages. That was the company he did, just like Paul Newman did dog food and salad dressing. Jimmy Dean, even though he's gone, well passed away, there's still Jimmy Dean sausages. Joan Rivers still has a clothing company, a clothing line, even though she'll never wear it again. Similar with Jimmy Dean. And I do remember that shortly after he passed, Jimmy Dean pork sausages were still doing commercials. And I remember one commercial they did, and it was Jimmy Dean pork sausages, the best sausages you'll ever eat, there's a little bit of Jimmy Dean in every sausage. I said, what? There's a little bit of Jimmy Dean in every sausage? That's disgusting. That's worse than a chef perspiring into the saute pan. I don't want a little bit of Jimmy Dean in every sausage. That's a little too personal. I don't want that to be his final resting place. But I must say, his sausages are awesome. And for me, as a heterosexual, to tell you that Jimmy Dean's sausages are awesome also sounds wrong. All right, fine. Where do I go from here? Where do I go? I'll tell you. I have very little respect for people who don't like Velcro. I am getting too old to tie my shoes. I'm not that old, but I don't want to bend down anymore. I've been bending down all of my life. I think that's enough. When they sent men to the moon and women to the moon, they came up with Velcro. I think that was one of the experiments they did. I don't know how that happened, but it did happen. And so now there are Velcro shoes. And sometimes I'll wear them because I don't have to bend down and tie my laces. Through my entire childhood, my mother, my teacher, everybody said, Ron, your shoes are untied, your shoes are untied. And I thought, well, someday they should come up with something that fastens these things to your feet without having to take string out and tie string to fasten a piece of clothing to your foot. And then they came out with Velcro. And I have Velcro sneakers. I have 2 pairs of Velcro sneakers, and I love them because I don't have to tie them. I refuse to bend down for anything anymore. I am not bending down to tie my shoes. I'm 6'3". To go down to my feet, I have to pack a picnic lunch. It's a long way down. I've stopped picking up pennies and coins off the floor. My reaction is, someone else will get it. It's not worth it. So, Velcro's my thing. But people shame me for wearing Velcro. You have Velcro shoes? Yeah, what's the problem? Velcro? Yeah. You have string holding material to your foot? String? I don't know. Someday things will work out and even out. I don't know how, but they will. What are you going to have for dinner tonight? You going to have NyQuil chicken? What does that go well with? How about Tylenol beans? All right. I'm about out of time. I have a closing theme, but it probably won't work out, so I'm not even going to try it. Hopefully by next week, I'll be able to figure this thing out. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you peace.